Hello, Pauper fans of Mathonical. Here, join me for another round with Inside Millout. Our opening hand, sending it back. Simple as that. This one is not a very nice hand, but we're going to go ahead and keep it. We got two lands. On the top of our deck is an island. I don't really want that. I want some kind of action to do something, so we're just going to put that away. Here, another Ash Barrens, so that gives us the freedom to cycle for another blue so we can Gush if we need to. Brainstorm, that is very good. At the end of their turn, this will allow us to go ahead and cast the Brainstorm, and then we're going to cycle the Ash Barrens. Blue-black, we definitely do not need these hazes, so we're going to happily get rid of those. And we're going to cycle that Ash Barrens. We're going to get our white source, just in case we do need it at some point. And now we really just need to get ourselves some mill online. Nothing really for us to do here, so we're just going to end of their turn cycling an Angelsong. Augur of Bolas, that's fine. Cycle this, Preordain, alright. So, we're gonna use a Gush here. We really do want to find, like now that they're tapped out, we do want to get our mill online. Unfortunately, we didn't find anything useful. So let's dig a little bit deeper with the Preordain. We do find a Brainstorm, so we're gonna cast that. We definitely don't need two Whirlpool Riders, but at the same time we also don't need all these lands, so it doesn't even really matter what we put back at this point. So we're going to go with two lands. We're going to drop an Evolving Wilds, get rid of those. I do end up deciding on putting back two lands, simply because if we start going for our combo and they counter a Whirlpool Rider, it is nice to have a backup. So that is the reason why we would want to get rid of a land. Getting rid of the Dawn Charm. I considered keeping the Dawn Charm just in case they have mainboard discard, but other than that, it's no good. And we found an Erasure. They've got no blue up. We're going to drop that. Very happy about that. We've also got a Muddle the Mixture, so we can go looking for another one. Evoked Mulldrifter. Our opponent is having a bit of mana trouble. They did miss their third land drop a couple turns ago. Mirror Aqueduct means they're getting their mana online. And we just draw another Erasure. Sometimes it's great to be a little lucky when they're tapped out completely. So here we're just going to go ahead and Gush. There's the possibility we want to just play a Whirlpool Rider, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Since they're tapped out, we might as well really dig in onto the mill plan. And our opponent actually scoops right here on the spot. So they probably realize that with two Erasures on the board, and if they don't, I don't know the contents of their hand, but if they don't have a lot to kill us really quickly, we just have straight gas from this point. We didn't draw a second or another blue source, so our hand's a little sketchy, but with the Preordain and Preordain and Brainstorm, it's very likely we're going to find another one with the Gush, so things are looking pretty good. And jumping on over to game number 2, let's take a look at the sideboard. So we are going to want to bring in the Tireless Tribe combo. Chances are they're going to be bringing out a lot of the removal, but probably not all of it. So we do want to keep in our Turbo Mill plan. And this is where things get pretty interesting. We're going to be playing a bit of that going both ways. We don't need the Fog package, so we're going to completely remove all 10 of those cards. We're also going to go down a little bit on the Muddle the Mixtures, as well as trim a little bit on kind of like the drawing package, and completely bring in the Tireless Tribe combo. And we're just gonna see where that takes us. Alright. Our opening hand looks fantastic. We're gonna be able to drop a Tribe on turn 2, so that looks great. We've also got the Inside Out plus Shadow Rift, so all good there. Play the Evolving Wilds. We're going to go ahead and get out of planes. Here, I run out the Tireless Tribe. I'm not expecting a ton of counter magic. And if this resolves, then chances are we will win next turn. It's possible they kept in some removal. It's possible they have a counter spell. And maybe it's a bit greedy to go for it here, but that's what I'm going to do. Turns out, they've got a Prohibit. So, punished quite a bit. Let's see what we can do from here. Our hand is pretty bad from this point. Still not looking any better, so we're just going to kind of thin out our deck a little bit here and there while we can. And we're unfortunately drawing the pieces we do not want. If our opponent drops a creature at some point, we would like to cycle some of this. Thankfully, they oblige. So we're going to go ahead, cycle some of our cards. And we've got some digging. Alright, there's another tribe. We'll drop that. Just gonna get see what we have, and this Muddle is quite nice. It's counterspell to help protect us. Unfortunately, that Duress would get rid of our inside out, so we have to counter it, and our opponent does have a Chainers. So there we go. That's 2 tribes down, and we got to see what we can do. Here we ponder, find a Gush. We're gonna cast that Gush, get a Brainstorm, and now that we've found an Erasure, we're gonna switch game plans. We're gonna go ahead, get that Erasure down, and let's see if the switch works. They did get a Gurmad Angler down, so we do not have a lot of turns. We would need to find another Erasure to feel pretty good. And a Spell Stutter Sprite, so not looking too good. We are going to counter that just because our hand is so garbage that we really need to find something. And here we do find like various cards, like a Brainstorm, Preordain. That's extra digging, but we really need to find an Erasure. I don't think we can send this back though. We really need the digging just to kind of get out a perfect hand. So we're going to go ahead and keep that, drawing the Preordain. This will allow us to cast the Preordain, so that way we can put the, get rid of the Evolving Wilds, and then we can keep the Brainstorm. We got to really hope that the Brainstorm finds us something useful. And what we don't want is another Gurmag Angler. So now we have no chance of being able to block our way through this with just one creature. We do find a tribe here. So things, okay, there's a line. Alright, so what we got to do is we have to make sure we keep this Tireless Tribe. And then we also need to find another creature so that way we can block and then block, discard a bunch of stuff. We've got a Gush to refill our hand, so that's all fine. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to play that Evolving Wilds to get rid of any 2 cards we put back. We're then going to have to get rid of the 2 cards we've put on top, use the Gush, find an Augur. Sounds simple enough, let's do it. So we're of course getting rid of some of the extra cards we don't need. We're going to keep a second Shadow Rift just because that is an extra cycle if we need to. Alright, so let's go ahead and cast the Gush. Unfortunately, we did not find something there. So we're going to have to Brainstorm, and we still didn't find anything there. And we have another Erasure, but that's not good right now. Alright, so our last chance is going to be casting this tribe, and then we could cast another Gush here. It doesn't seem like a winning proposition since we need that to refill our hand, so we just gotta hope that they don't attack with everything, but they do. So, unfortunate. There was the chance that if we Gush, we may have been able to find another Augur, but then we're dead to like anything. They have the Chainer's Edict there, so we would need to counter it. So yeah, we were dead no matter which way we looked at it. Super close, didn't quite make it. Alright, so let's go on to game number 3. Sideboard, I'm actually going to switch back entirely to the nil plan, since we know that they kept in some removal, and now that we've shown them that we have the tribe, I'm expecting them to bring in a little bit more removal and a little bit more hate for that, just to make sure they don't get punked out by that. We still don't need all of the fog effects, so I'm just going to keep out one of those, or 3 of those, sorry, and we're going to keep in the extra counter magic with the circular logics. It's a little inefficient having to pay 3 mana for counter, but sometimes you just need to counter something, so. Alright, let's see. Opening hand, looks good to me. Let's keep it. With a Preordain, we don't find anything we want, so we're going to send both of those to the bottom. Whirlpool Rider, that is one of our combo pieces. And a Duress to get rid of our other Preordain, that's fine. So here we are going to keep the extra land. We do want the 3rd land so we can start muddling for Erasures. We knew that there was a muddle, or there was an Erasure on top from the Preordain. Sorry, I didn't go slow enough through that to show it. So the reason why we didn't cycle is because on our turn it allows us to cycle and play an Erasure. So now we're just going to cycle one of these. We want to get another Erasure online. It's possible they have discard and are going to strip it out of her hand, but not much we can do about that. Here they're going to play a Gurmag. Okay, so the clock is on. go ahead and get the other Erasure down. We're going to ponder. Here, the Augur is a solid play. It might be able to buy us a turn and could dig us a little bit further. I don't think we need another Muddle since this Muddle's already clogging our hand. It's possible we don't want either of these, but I'm going to go ahead and keep the Augur just because that's going to give us a really deep look for a Gush. So, they're getting in. We're going to draw the Muddle that we put on top next, and let's look for that Gush. We do find another Ponder, so we're going to use that. And our opponent might have something to counter it, and then it turns out they want to use a negate against that. I don't think that's the best choice, and they do solve the removal, so we're just going to take another hit. Augur, unfortunately, was not a fog in this case. So, oh, we did find a Gush. Things are looking pretty good there. We're going to go ahead and use that now. Mill them out a ton. And we're going to cast a Whirlpool Rider. We don't have any other effects that would kind of like help us with the mill. So we're going to cast this now. We're going to hope for some kind of 1 mana effect, and this is going to get them a good like 16 cards. It's really far along the way, so might as well cash it in now. It's possible they have counter magic, but thankfully they do not. We do find a Brainstorm. That is awesome. So let's see how it goes. They end up having the Spell Stutter. We're going to let that go. We're going to hope that they don't have removal. Turns out they brought in the Serrated Arrows. Yes, they were expecting Tribe, so they would do that. So here, we really need to somehow mill them out that last bit. So this is looking at essentially in hand. We've got 6 cards plus 4. That's not quite enough. We've got a Haze that'll hopefully buy us 1 turn, but we're just going to start with the Brainstorm. It's possible that they will counter it. They do not. Alright, so we're going to mill them out a bunch. We're going to use the Ponder next. Or we're actually going to use the Gush. Because if we do find another one of the Whirlpool Riders, we can't actually just win on the spot. So, the Gush, and then the Ponder, if that had resolved, that would have been really nice. Unfortunately, it does not. So they're going to counter that. That does mean that it's more likely that our Haze will buy us an extra turn. So here we're looking at needing to draw any kind of cycle or draw effects, anything like that. Any 1 mana spell, any of our Angel of Grace, or yeah, it's really close. If we draw any cycling effect, and we don't. Any fog effect would have likely bought us another turn. Unfortunately, they are left with 1 card in their library, and we don't quite make it. Super close matches, and sometimes you just don't quite make it. Anyways, thanks for watching this one, and I hope you'll join me for the next one.